Hi students, welcome to lesson number 16 on ILO fundamental principles and major activities. The introduction. The International Labour Organization was established by the Treaty of Versailles in 1919 as an autonomous institution associated with the League of Nations. The UN's first specialized agency, the ILO, was established in 1946. It received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1969, the year it celebrated its 50th anniversary. And the objectives of ILO are to advance productive employment, protect human rights and enhance working and living conditions. Its constitution preamble states that only social fairness can serve as the foundation for a world at peace that lasts forever. The International Labour Conference in Philadelphia, United States in 1944 adopted a statement which is now an annex to the Constitution that affirms everyone's right to pursue both their material well-being and their spiritual development in conditions of freedom and dignity, of economic security and equal opportunity. Poverty everywhere is a danger to prosperity everywhere. It declares the tripartite structure of the ILO sets it apart from other specialized organizations. Despite being an intergovernmental organization, ILO's governing body, that is the Executive Council and the Inter-Labour Conference, allow workers and employers to directly influence ILO policy, that is the General Assembly. Together with the International Labour Office, the two organizations make up the ILO. The International Labour Conference meets annually and is open to all nations. The conference establishes worldwide labour standards, chooses the ILO's governing body and serves as a global venue for discussion of social and labour issues. The conference approves the ILO's biannual work program and budget, which is paid for by member states every 2 years. And the objectives of these lessons are that this lesson will enable the students to understand the principles and activities of ILO. Now, let us understand what ILO organization is all about. One of the important international organizations formed by the Treaty of Versailles was the International Labour Organization, which was founded in 1919. Since that time, it has been working non-stop to bring about world peace via social justice. It received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1969 for its work in this field. The ILO has worked primarily on developing international standards for national application, supported by technical corporations and education in order to complete this duty. In 1919, there were 45 states that belonged to the ILO. One of the first members was India. The number of ILO members has already reached 174. Now, the specific objectives of ILO are as follows. The ILO's goals are outlined in the preamble to its constitution, which is complemented by Philadelphia Declaration of 1944 and Article 427 of 1919 Peace Treaty of Versailles. These three tools give the following definitions of the ILO's ideology. However, social justice must be the foundation of any durable worldwide peace. And while there are labour situations that cause social justice, suffering and deprivation to vast populations of people, that they endanger global peace and harmony. In order to promote worldwide respect for the freedom and dignity of the working men and to create the conditions in which their freedom and dignity can be more completely and effectively enjoyed, the ILO has been doing just that. The Declaration of Philadelphia set forth objectives which the ILO was to further and promote among the nations of the world. The theme underlying these objectives are social justice. The objectives of the ILO are: first, to promote and realize standards and fundamental principles and rights at work. Second, to create greater opportunities for women and men to secure decent employment. Third, to enhance the coverage and effectiveness of social protection for all. And fourth, to strengthen tripartism and social dialogue. Now, we will understand what is international labour standards. The international labour standards, the quintessence of worldwide experience in the progress towards higher social and economic objectives, continue to be the principal means at the disposal of the ILO to achieve social justice throughout the world. The International Labour Conference, which is the legislative wing of the ILO, provides a forum for discussion and deliberations of international labour problems, and this formulates the standards in form of conventions and recommendations. The conventions and recommendations are collectively known as the International Labour Code. The need for standard setting activities in overall ILO plans and programs is the most important one. Now, let us understand what are the ILO's fundamental principles and rights at work. ILO's fundamental principles and rights at work branch, what is fundamentals, was established in 2013, bringing together the international program on the elimination of child labour, that is IPEC, and the Department for the Promotion of the Declaration on Fundamental Principles and Rights at Work. First, it ensures equitable and just societies are formed on the foundation of fundamental values and rights at work, and they serve as a foundation for a positive feedback loop that will result in improved social dialogue, improved working conditions, rising enterprise productivity, rising consumer demand, more and better jobs, social protection, and formalization of the informal sector. This can be accomplished primarily through the use of freedom of association and the right to collective bargaining, which allows employers and employees to discuss important phases of the relationship. The potential of the millions of women, men and young people who are today excluded or undervalued will be unlocked by eliminating prejudices. And the third, ending poverty, building stronger economies, and ensuring that all children receive a quality education as well as the training they require to reach their creative and productive potential for young people are all possible outcomes of eliminating child labour. So, by putting an end to forced labour in all of its forms, employees will not lose both their dignity and their ability to choose their own occupation. Now, what are the major ILO activities taken up? In addition to its historical duty as a standard setter, the ILO now conducts substantial operational programs and works in teaching, research and publishing. Eliminating child labour has the potential to have many positive effects, including the eradication of poverty, the development of stronger economies, and ensuring that all children receive the kind of education and training they need to develop into the creative and productive adults they can become. Employees will not lose both their dignity and the freedom to select their own occupation by ending forced labour in all of its forms. And first primary objective is standard setting activities. International labour standards have been developed and adopted by the ILO ever since they were first introduced. There are requirements to ensure fundamental human rights in addition to those safeguarding and enforcing labour and working conditions. So, the removal of discrimination in the workplace, freedom of association and the outlawing of forced labour stand out among this. The full spectrum of labour related issues are covered by other standards including minimum wages, labour administration, industrial relations, employment policy, working conditions, social security, occupational safety and health, the employment of women, the employment of the migrant workers and so forth. And the second major activity is technical cooperation activities. It is a significant program of technical cooperation that aims to assist developing nations in raising their standard of life and making effective use of their human resources, support standard setting. Workforce development, including initiatives to lessen the social cost of economic restructuring, vocational training, cooperative and enterprise development, working conditions and the working environment, labor administration, labor relations and social security are the main areas of focus. So, to develop and carry out cooperative programs, the ILO actively collaborates with governments. However, the ILO operational activities now have tripartite participation, which increasingly involves not only government agencies, but also workers and employers organizations in project preparation and implementation. So, this is in accordance with the recommendations of its resolution on technical cooperation programs adopted by the ILO or Indian Labour Conference in 1979. The ILO has already formed 14 interdisciplinary teams of technical professionals to provide quick advising support as a part of policy of active collaboration with its constituents. And the third major activity is education, research and information activities. The ILO standard setting and operation activity is further supported by research and documentation, which includes several research programs and the creation and dissemination of a sizable body of publications and other activities. The ILO produces data on socio-economic circumstances in every nation on earth. For instance, the 3 times yearly publication labor law document covers changes in social legislation around the globe. So, one of the most important international reference work is the Annual Yearbook of Labour Statistics. The Bulletin of Labour Statistics, which includes statistical tables, methodological details and notes regarding labour statistics, updates it on a regular basis. Fourth major activity is the promotion and planning of employment. So, here the assistance to member states in the fight against unemployment and poverty is still a major responsibility of the ILO. So, a key program employment and development places employment at the center of the ILO's development strategy. Its aims are to first assist member states in developing and implementing employment and government policies, second promoting and assisting in the implementation of sectoral policies and policies on technology design and dissemination, third, aiding in the formulation and implementation of manpower and labour market policies. Fourth, promoting equality of opportunity and treatment for migrant workers and their families and aiding in the design and implementation of technology based policies. Fifth, improve the information base for monitoring employment and labour market trends and for the formulation of employment policies and strengthen the capacity of member states to formulate and implement employment promoting programs and projects. And there is a special emphasis is put on reducing the social cost of economic restructuring and assisting countries in the transition to a market economy system, and also to promoting employment concerns in all sectors of industry and agriculture in the formal economy. However, there is particular emphasis on technical cooperation projects aimed at either increasing direct employment and income in the rural and informal sectors or providing services and assistance to micro enterprises. And the fifth major activity is development of human resources. The development of human resources is another area of concern to ILO, and the objectives of these programs are two. First one, to strengthen the capacity of training system to respond rapidly to changing labor market demands resulting from technological change, structural adjustment, demographic trends or the transition to a market economy. Second, to increase the cost effectiveness of public sector training system and develop more diversified source of funding for them. Third, to enhance opportunities for training, gainful employment, social integration and career development for social groups and in particular for women and disabled persons. Fourth, strengthen member states' capacity to take responsibility for and manage their own human resource development programs, including the related policy analysis and implementation. Fifth, strengthen the role of employers and workers. Organization in human resources development policy, formulation and program implementation at the country and organizational levels. And sixth, assist countries in which the basic social and economic infrastructure has been destroyed and undertake skills and entrepreneurship training for countries emerging from armed conflict. And the sixth major activity is improvement of living and working standards. ILO action in the field of living and working standard is guided by the various principles and they are: first one, work should take place in a safe and healthy environment. Second, conditions of work should be consistent with workers' well-being and human dignity. Third, work should offer real possibilities for personal achievement, self-fulfillment and service to society. And one of ILO's major program is devoted to making work more human by promoting conditions in which work respects the worker's life and health, leaving free time for rest and leisure. The program covers the following main areas like occupational safety and health, dissemination of safety and health information and conditions of work and welfare facilities. And finally, this program helps member states provide essential minimum protection and progressive improvement in working conditions and welfare facilities such as adaptation of measures to protect workers from excessive working hours and measures giving workers and their families access to work related welfare facilities and services including food services, child care facilities, counseling, transport, health care and so on. The ILO has invested considerable effort in recent years in its equality for women, on employment and elimination of child labour programs, and this is going to get continued. And ILO is providing direct assistance to several countries in the formulation and implementation of their national child labour policies and programs. And this is a result of the ongoing work of the 1992-1993 interdepartmental project on the elimination of child labour and the international program on the elimination of child labour, that is IPEC, funded by contributions from Australia, Belgium, France, Germany, Norway, Spain and the United States. The ILO has been the organization responsible for promoting social security since its foundation. And the basic aim of social security is to provide and guarantee, that is maintain people's livelihood by providing substitution benefits in the event of loss of income resulting either from temporary or permanent incapacity, that is through illness, accident, disability or old age, or loss of employment or the death of the breadwinner, and to give access to preventive and curative medical care and also to rehabilitation. And so, many of the ILO's international minimum standards concern social security and are periodically reviewed, updated and supplemented. So, the settings of these standards is based on the major research programs and the result of which are published in the cost of social security and in case studies. The standard setting is supplemented by practical activities to help developed and developing countries set up, expand, update and consolidate their social security system and make them more effective. And here considerable attention is given to promoting equality of treatment between non-nationals and nationals in social security through bilateral and multilateral coordinations of national legislation. The ILO has close relationship with the International Social Security Association, that is ISSA, and with the Inter-American Committee on Social Security, that is IACSS. Now, what is the development of social institutions under ILO? So, with respect to members legislation, labor relations and administrative systems, ILO assists governments, employers and workers organization in building or consolidating institutions and mechanisms to improve living and working standards and social justice. The ILO is active in such fields as labor law and relations, labor administration, workers education and promotion of employers' activities. The activities in labor legislation and labor relation programs are designed to promote tripartism, encourage the development of labor relations systems, improve labor legislations on matters such as individual employment relationships and develop remuneration policies based on 110 principles and on each country's conditions and requirements. ILO mission in several countries provide technical advisory services on these issues. In this way, ILO supports technical projects that help governments review various aspects of their labor relation system and their labor legislation. The ILO also runs a workers' education program which encourages workers to organize and help trade unions improve their structure and activities, negotiating skills, capacity to participate in decision making and ability to defend and promote their members' interest. The program provides technical support and advisory services to education and research activities by trade unions in all parts of the world. It also sponsors educational projects including seminars, courses and assistance in establishing and improving trade union educational programs. The ILO worker education manuals, handbooks, booklets and the bulletin labor education are produced in several languages. And finally, the ILO promotes employers' activities, and ILO has always had close relation with employers and their organizations at national and international levels through a specialized service established in ILO's early days. Since then, ILO has developed technical cooperation activities to promote the establishment of independent or representative employees organization, particularly in developing countries. Now, let us look at the relationship of ILO with non-governmental organizations. ILO collaborates with NGOs in many different technical areas, and some important areas are women in development, community based labor intensive infrastructure development, cooperatives and training in self employment and income generation in rural and urban informal sectors and for disadvantaged social groups. The International Labour Organization has actively promoted the idea of a people based approach to development, which involves beneficiaries as partners in defining requirements, creating and implementing projects and dealing with maintenance and sustainability challenges. In this sense, the ILO works closely with numerous national or local NGOs who share similar perspectives on development. The ILO implements programs for employers and trade unions alike in the areas of worker education, and employer activities. They aim to fortify these groups and give them the tools they need to effectively participate to the development process. In line with the organization's founding principle of tripartism, the ILO actively incorporates its social partners in the planning and education of operational activities, and its cooperation with NGOs is predicated on their technical expertise and understanding of regional situations. And the promotion of fundamental ILO principle and standard is particularly crucial for workers and employers groups. And apart from workers and employers groups, collaboration of NGOs takes the form of subcontractual agreement, whereby one or more NGOs do specific duties such as surveys, studies and training based on their expertise and familiarity with the local environment. Contractual agreements and financial transactions with NGOs are subject to the general financial laws and regulations of the ILO. In ILO, technical cooperation projects, collaboration with NGOs aside from workers and employees organization typically takes the form of subcontractual agreements, whereby an NGO completes specific tasks such as surveys, studies and training in accordance with the expertise in the local context. And here the contractual arrangement and financial processes with NGO shall be governed by the general financial norms and regulations of the ILO. To summarize, thus both directly and indirectly the ILO norms have influenced labour laws. In actuality, the ILO standards serve as the foundation for the labour policy, and our directive principles of state policy like articles 39, 41, 42, 43 and 43A, which set forth policy objectives in the field of labour, reflect the impact of the ILO. And the preamble of the ILO and the Philadelphia Declaration have had made a significant impact on them. And the Indian Labour Conference and the Standing Labour Committee, two national labour organizations, mimic the two main ILO organizational frameworks. Consequently, the ILO's influence may be seen in Indian labour laws also. Thank you.